Have a quorum, albeit slightly.
There's your paperwork.
So I'm going to call the meeting to order. First thing will be approval or disapproval of the minutes of the June 9th, 2020 regular meeting. Those are previously been provided to you. Are there any corrections, additions, subtractions?
I'll make a motion we approve it. Looks like Stan and I were the only ones here anyway.
Yeah.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the June 9th, 2020 regular meeting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Next will be approval or disapproval of financial reports as of August 20th. You all have had those. Do you have questions on any of those?
But where we stand with the Winoka Incubator, those people still paying or?
Still paying, I just got a check yesterday, so they are still paying.
Any conversation with them, or are they?
Now they just plan on keep paying, as far as I know.
Well, that's good. I don't know how, but.
Oh, better something in there.
Yeah.
So nothing. Any other comments, questions?
Everything looks fine in there.
I'd entertain a motion.
That's it.
Everything looks fine. You move to approve. You're second. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, carried. Next will be any outstanding bills.
Yes. The pledge and a transfer.
How much is the pledge?
Pledge $7,500 and the transfer.
Don't we pay that every other month now? We just paid that. I guess we don't meet very often.
About a year ago.
Well, okay. 7,500, that's to the committee, all right.
Yes, and then there's a transfer for $1,650.
And that is for,
I think that is a holding that we have under this committee for the committee. And Sonia said she'd come in and do the check stuff after the meeting if you'd like.
that'd be nice.
I'm good with that because
That's a sense of a third party. Yeah?
because I have never done this before. She said, "This is you got to do this and you got to do that." That's almost the extent of what I know on that.
Okay, anything else that we need to be paying?
No, I don't have anything else as far as bills.
We have sufficient funds in an account to pay the pledge?
Yep. We may have to transfer, and she said she'd tell you which one.
She knows about
So it's 7,500 plus 1,650?
The $7,500 is the yearly pledge. The $1,650 is something that we accumulate. I'm guessing,
do a distribution.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's just a distribution.
It's not actually not our money.
Okay. All right. I'll second that motion to approve, Stan.
Sounds good to me.
Are you moving to approve?
I'm moving
You
to.
guys make this so hard for the chairman. Okay, you move to approve.
Yeah.
You second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is approved. Okay, tell us about the Winoka Incubator.
Let's see. The Winoka Incubator, they're still paying $12.50 a month, which we just got, like I said yesterday. I thought maybe I had a possible tenant, but then when I found out they're welding, I didn't figure you guys wanted welding in that building.
Probably not the kind of economic development we normally would be looking for, but.
Yeah, so I told him, because I talked to Poe, and he said chances are they wouldn't want welding in there, so I told him that probably wouldn't work. But that's about the only inquiry on it I've had so far, up to now anyway.
Is there any kind of, I mean, do we advertise that anywhere, do anything, like any trade magazines or anything? I don't know what's out there.
No, we're trying to get it on Commerce's website. I'm gathering all the empty buildings from Woods County and putting them on there.
Okay.
And then I think Poe, and I haven't been down there to look, but he was gonna get a big sign and put out by it for rent.
I just wanted, how people across the state might know they were looking to move a business or do something with it.
Right.
Even though we had something existing, so.
But that's where we're advertising anyway.
Okay. Anything else on that, gentlemen? Nope. Let's go on to number 7, the airport project.
Go back to 5.
We're going back to 5. Oh, we didn't, okay, I'll get that in there. Let's go ahead and do 7, since I've already called it up.
Want to go ahead and do 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Airport project. Okay, of course, we've still got the one in the building that's paying every month. And the one that we have the grant on, we're still working on that. The guy that was gonna do the AP for mechanics on airplanes backed out. So we're looking at at changing that project emphasis, maybe more on aviation education, where at this time, we're working with the college on aviation, drones, and robotics. Throwing all those together and bringing that building for whatever is needed. What we've been looking at is the students from this area, if we can get them to where they can learn more of the like drones, not just flying, but taking the data that accumulate from that drone and being able to transfer it to a readable data, whichever area it may be in. That would make them more job savvy whenever they graduate that program. So those things are just now going in the works with Bo Hannaford and Darren Slater. We've been talking about what all we need to do, what's that program going to look like. So that's where we're at on that. With the cars, at some point will be driving themselves. Somebody's got to do all the programming and all the science that goes behind all that, and that's where, we want our kids to be able to compete in that job market. So things are changing pretty quickly. But I have kept in touch with the USDA on that grant, so it's still there. And that's about all I can tell you on that.
Now, that'd be a good area. I think we've all seen how much the drones are becoming surprising to me.
Yeah.
I guess the older you get.
I had
the
no
more
idea. I
surprising.
mean, they're using everything.
But they use it for all kinds of business related.
Yeah. The farmers are even using them. And they can determine where the fertilizer needs and what needs to be applied. And if those kids can download and interpret that information, my goodness. They're using them in oil companies, pipelines. We had one fly over our city industrial park and take pictures and do all that kind of stuff. I can't even remember all the applications that are out there for those now. But having the students, some of it's gonna have to be an engineering part, plus, the science and the
Get
computer.
kind of IT type.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at, but
Okay. Anything else on the airport project?
well, The only other thing we have, the city is gonna resurvey it because that survey has never been right, as you guys know. So I did get with Angelica, we are gonna get that handled as soon as we can get the surveyor to do it. So,
Yeah, that'd be nice. That's only been a multi-year
oh, yeah,
fiasco. So,
well, the employee prior to that wasn't in a hurry to get anything done, so.
I assume you're not talking about your prior, your city prior. Okay.
Yeah. So, that is being worked on, and she's aware of it, and so now
I think Angelica will
yes.
move on that quicker than we had before, so that's good.
Well, and just for your information, I've gotten with the chamber here and the city manager, and we've set up meetings, and we'll be meeting once a month with Freedom in Winoka on how we can promote each other and work together on projects versus each one trying to be independent and pull from the other, you know. So anyway, we're gonna have a strategic county working on the same projects, or see if we can help in any way.
Well, they used to replicate for the services.
Yeah. So, which one do you want to go to now?
Well, let's go to number 5, the meeting date for the calendar year 2021.
Yeah, and those are in front of you.
Okay, so I guess it's what, March, June, September, and December, quarterly meetings, that work for everybody? As good as any? I mean, we can just call you when we need you. Well, if that's okay, then I'd entertain a motion regarding the meeting dates. To approve?
To approve.
Okay, second. Have a motion and a second to approve the meeting dates calendar year 2021. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Now, we'll move back down the agenda to value-added products note extension.
Yes, on that, what we did was we extended the payment schedule for them because of COVID. And you've got the letter that we put in so that they could bypass a couple payments while they had a really, really tough time during COVID, getting supplies and or having any orders because nobody was up and going. So we extended their payment through to where they didn't have to pay through December, and then they'll start back up in January.
We hope.
Yeah.
We hope.
Well, I did see them working again, so that's a good sign.
It's like a spider's web, but it's all connected. Whether you can produce your product depends on what the market is and what everybody else is doing down the chain.
The thing I didn't realize that they sell to schools. Well, when schools let out in spring break, well, there goes their biggest customer. So, and that was one of the reasons for the extension. But, so they did get the extension.
Okay, anything else on that?
Nothing more on that one.
Well, then, new business. I'm not aware of it. It's come up since our agenda.
I want to mention, anybody you guys talk to, the census, if they haven't filled it out, it's very, very important. To the tune of between $1,600 and $1,700 per person.
Mhm.
It goes to food, the school lunches, several things that, but Oklahoma gets if we, and we're way behind, I think, last I saw, on getting our census done. And also, in the way of economic development, broadband, we had a meeting with Pioneer, and they're really aggressive about their fiber that they already have in Alva, hooking up people to the internet. But also, we're getting Nextlink, which is getting out in rural. I don't know when they'll be operational. I actually have a tower on me. I made a deal with them, and it's wireless. I'm going to cover a lot of area here that's not being covered at the moment.
That'd be good.
We've worked on that quite extensively over the last 3 months, and one of the things when we met with Freedom, the mayor's wife's a doctor, and she's been working from home. Well, they had to move off the ranch to town to get a hardwired internet because medical people cannot use wireless, which I had no clue of. But it has, for security, it has to be hardwired. And so we are looking at ways that we can solve some of those problems in the rural areas. And I've asked Brody at SPI to get me the cost to make downtown Wi-Fi accessible. And they're looking at some kiosks, in the square that people can advertise on to pay for what we're going to try and do. But the other thing I've learned doing some research is if we don't have high-speed internet, there's going to be some things that we can't participate in down the road. And it's been highlighted because of COVID. All the kids at home trying to do schooling and stuff. So we're trying to expedite and get the county up and ready for the next wave of jobs and things that are coming our way that we have a chance of getting. So anyway, we're working on that pretty intently. So
Anything
That's all
else?
I have.
Man? Okay. WCEDC update.
Working with the company to get them in here on the fertilizer. That committee is doing their due diligence, going through that. It's not going to be a fast process by any means, but there was something else I wanted to tell you. Yeah, I had it just a minute ago. It's what happens when you get an old guy after. But there's a lot of things going on in the county that we've been working on. We've done some work with our manufacturing to tie them into commerce so that they can help them with trade contracts, government contracts, other things like that they could possibly use to increase aviation in the area. Tomorrow, the governor's representatives and Commerce will be here in town visiting 3 of our companies that benefited from the business usage on covert stuff. It'll be that, Jones Entertainment, which would be the theater, and Connor Martin, his business. So they're gonna come into town tomorrow and visit with them and talk about, you know, how it helped them and those kind of things. At this point, I can't think of any other things that you probably need to know about. We've looked at the possibility of getting small buildings, either taking the building downtown or somewhere, dividing it off into small spaces and letting the entrepreneurs rent that either by the day, the month, whatever, and trying to spur entrepreneurship. We're looking at the college at possibility of putting in an entrepreneurship program. It's one of them that I talked to Bo about. And then also, I was hoping this group, you know, if we get some, then maybe we could facilitate some small spaces or whatever and make it the rent cheap enough for them getting going. And if we only get 2 out of 10, and we do that every year, and those 2 move out into bigger spaces, you know, we'll spawn more businesses as we go. I've got a couple that I'm working with to buy an existing business, so we're doing some of that. And I can't think of anything else, you, Randy, that we've worked on. Well, the car charging station. I think we've got it. They'll be putting in a car charging station downtown on the square for 2 cars. And I realize we don't have a lot of them in town, but if people are traveling, they can come to Alva, and, you know, we don't miss out on that traffic. So.
Yeah, but sometimes it's a long ways here.
It'll leave us off the map for people coming from the east going to New Mexico, Colorado, or whatever. They'll have to reroute. I was really upset when we got dropped the first time. And so they made an effort to come back.
So is it still gonna be off that parking lot? The east
Yeah, I
side?
think where we've talked about it, I guess it's still yet to be determined. OG&E's not being very cooperative about telling where. We planned on, we were gonna pour a huge deal in the northeast corner of the courthouse lawn and just make it come onto the post office and Glen and make it through there. And the guy that finally came and met with us after we got things properly legalized, then he suggested that we maybe need to move west because of, so we're talking about it, and right now, tentatively, where we have those carports where they have the farmer's market and not doing anything but fixing places to come off Flynn right there. The only thing we'd have to do is fix the curbing.
Right.
And moving those carports and using that. My problem with where they first wanted to put it was in that parking lot back there, and I thought everybody'd be complacent about, they'd go ahead, they'd get to where they were parking there, and when somebody did finally come to town, it was gonna be hard to keep them off around that, and get it so somebody could charge.
Yeah. The other location would be unique enough to make it.
Well, county vehicles are the ones that usually park there under those carports, so nobody's used to parking right there.
Mhm.
So I don't think that'll be a big issue to keep them off from it. You know, I mean, it's that. Anywhere else, it'll save us some on the concrete work. Not that that was a big issue. I wanted to get it isolated where people weren't parked in it when people needed it. It'll be travelers because anybody that buys an electric car here is surely gonna get it fixed up to hook up at home.
You would think.
Yeah.
It takes a different plug. at your house?
I don't know what it is. They have a 480 and a 220 carcass. And I looked at one of them down at the Capitol at the Department of Transportation, and I was more concerned about how you paid. I kept looking for a place to put the card in or what you did, and then I found out that most of them are done over your app. You get an app that tells you where these charging places are, and you get charged over your phone. But lo and behold, come find out, I talked to somebody, maybe it was that guy, the one that's down there at ODOT, the building at ODOT's, which is just across the road west of the Capitol. It's free.
That's why I couldn't find any place to pay.
I thought it was, and then I decided it was just for ODOT cars, electric cars that they bought, but no, he said it was just free gratis.
So who absorbs that? OG&E or
Yeah.
city, the county, or?
Whoever the electric provider is. Northwest Electric is the one. This Francis Solar, all this stuff is a grant money. That's the way with this broadband stuff. That's why in this next link, I was told at the Pioneer meeting that Microsoft actually owns the next link. But I'm curious, this is the first I knew. I asked Pioneer at that meeting what the pros and cons were to the wireless versus the wire. And this medical record deal's the first con that I've actually heard. They tried to tell us weather was, and Brian Hofen was there, and I agree, we're on Mac Central internet at home, and the there's no correlation to yet, and like Dish or DirecTV, the weather-related issues you have with your TV, with the internet. Pioneer said the biggest issue with the wireless internet was, and that's the reason I brought up Microsoft, is the provider. Once they get you hooked up, if they'll take care of it if there are issues. But NextLink has an office in Enid, and that service is going to be, they're fixing a loop to tie in towers from Enid, and they actually, which you may be aware of, this bought that AT&T tower and AT&T's fiber here in Alva. And I keep thinking that tower is going to be operational. They told me when they put up my tower. Now my tower is not operational, the one I leased them the property for. They don't have electricity, and this one in here has to be operational to bounce off the connection between them. But it's something we gotta have, just like we talked about the working at home.
Absolutely.
That could be one of the next big economic moves for Woods County is people coming here from the city, but they gotta be able to have access to high-speed internet. But I didn't know the medical records were HIPAA. I didn't know there was an issue with wireless compared to the hardwire.
Oh, they'll figure that out though. Some security link that they'll put in there.
Yeah.
Well, if COVID's taught us nothing else, it's that people can work from home.
Oh, that's gonna
I've
be a
got a
big
son that's
change.
CPA and his wife's an engineer, and they are almost exclusively working at home.
Yep.
And their company says, we anticipate this, you guys will continue to do that.
Yep.
Past COVID, so.
We've had people from big cities that used to live here years ago, and they're wanting to move back here because the company said we're just working from home. So now they
Live where
here.
you want to.
Yeah. And so we've got to make sure that we have the infrastructure to allow that all to happen.
Governmentally, the auditor, state auditor, and they've been working exclusively, almost exclusively from home. And even when this is over, they don't think they're going to change because it's a lot more efficient.
Okay, anything else? WCEDC update. Randy?
I
Dan?
move we adjourn.
That's second. Okay, all in favor, aye? Aye, okay. We're adjourning.